Hello, guys. Just testing the audio real quick. Making sure the live stream's all up and running. Gonna just check that out right now. See if it's all running good. All right. Hello. All right, we seem to be doing good. We seem to be good with everything. Let me just turn up the audio real quick for you guys. There you go. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Venom, The Last Dance live stream. This is gonna be spoilers, so if you guys don't want, if you guys are not seeing the movie or seeing anything about Venom: The Last Dance, you gotta want to click away right now because we're going into some major spoiler territories. So what were we talking about? We're talking about Venom: Last Dance. Spoilers for the movie, of course. But then we're also talking about kind of the future. Where they can possibly go with Venom, or maybe and also possibly some stuff having to do with Spider-Man 4. Yes, Spider-Man 4. Yes, and talking about some of those rumors. That we felt like, oh, Spider-Man's going to be a Venom times Spider-Man movie. That's the plot of Spider-Man 4 and Spider-Man Venom versus Null. We're going to get into that. But first, let's go and talk about some of these spoilers. And, I guess the first thing we can really talk about is the man himself, Null. Let me just put. All right. And we'll talk about this man. No. Yes. No. Null is the big bad in our uh, So yes, Null was kind of the looming threat. We already kind of knew this for the film. Null was the looming threat in Venom: The Last Dance, and this we were excited. I was excited to see Null. Null was in the film. He's, like I said in my not out of the theater in my non spoiler review. I said Null is played by Andy Serkis. Null really has nothing to do in the film. Honestly, just to sit in this chair. That's basically what he's doing the entire time. He's just sitting in this chair, being like, bring me my MacGuffin so I can get out of this chair. And that's the whole thing with him. But they did at the end have a little teaser. If we go right here, this was a little teaser at the end. Where oh yeah, here's Null. Null. He's like I am coming, and it's like okay, they're basically saying like oh yeah, Null's coming back. They want Null to come back. They want Null to be like the Thanos in this cinematic universe that they kind of have. But the question is, now that this is the last Venom movie, what can you do possibly to build up this character since Venom, the main symbiote, is now gone? Or is he gone, really? There was another post-credit scene that kind of talked about, him possibly, might still be alive. Venom might still be out there. And of course, there can be variants of Venom out there. We could have a Venom in MCU. We could have a Venom show up in Secret Wars. It was just announced the day that we are getting a Spider-Man 4 is releasing between Secret Wars and Doomsday, which people are wondering, is that movie going to be taking place before the Avengers movies, or could it be taking place in between those movies? Could it be taking place in Battle World, where in the past in comics, Peter Parker has gotten the symbiote suit? So that could be a big thing. Or could Spider-Man 4 have nothing to do with that? That's the question. But, if they don't go the route of, oh, it's not going to be Spider-Man who faces Null. What if it's, someone in their Sony universe? I have a few options. The first option I have here is another character. Another character that we saw in the movie, that we saw in Venom: The Last Dance. And that character is this. Agony. Yes, and of course, I am pulling up the Fortnite image. Yes, it's the best quality image I could get for Agony, guys. So don't really judge me on this. But we have Agony here. Agony, does appear in this movie. This is the symbiote that does bond to Juno Temple, and we kind of leave it off in the film where they are still bonded. They are the last surviving symbiotes from the raid on Area 51. You know, it could be possible they could be going to use Juno Temple a couple more times in this film franchise. And, it makes sense that they would go use this character because, you very much have it wide open. Like I said, she still survives. Agony's the only symbiote that survives. She's the only symbiote that survives the final battle. And, we could see, that maybe Agony's like, I need to go build a team. I need to go find people to fight. No, he's coming. We got to fight. And, that could lead into characters like this man right here. We already know he's got a movie coming. We already know he's coming. He is coming. And, his movie comes out in December. And it's this man right here, who I think might have a bigger part to play. Mr. Kravinoff the Hunter. Craven. Could Craven have a bigger role than we could possibly imagine, Because I feel like Craven has the best chance of being that new franchise for Sony. Venom franchise is done. We're not going to see any more Venom solo movies. I think if Craven lives up to the expectations, because this is really the first R-rated Sony Spider-Verse movie that they've done. And I think Craven's perfect. I'm going to say it. That second trailer is really good. Guys. I've seen it in movie theaters a couple times. I've reacted to it. It is a good, solid trailer, and it gets me honestly excited about the film. And I think it's very possible that Craven does come in to this Sony universe. And, maybe Craven, goes recruiting villains. Maybe he's going off to recruit Morbius. Maybe the character from Madam Web. Who even knows they're going to use those characters again, even though those characters kind of really do suck in a way. Morbius and Madam Web, or like, bleh. We all feel that. But Craven, Craven, I think, has so much potential. Now, another character that I think we could also fit Nolan into that category is this character. This character right here, which we've not seen yet. We have not seen yet in this universe. We have not seen her appear. She is one of my favorite symbiotes. I think she's really cool. And that's this character. I've talked about a little bit in the non-spoiler. Scream. I would love to see Scream. We did have Scream in the Spider-Man video game. That was very much a thing where Scream did show up in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Scream was able to bond to MJ. She was able to bond to MJ in Spider-Man 2, which that was really cool to see. She's a very tough boss fight in that game. Very, very tough boss fight. But Scream, this could be another way you can introduce another symbiote-esque character to your universe. Scream, I don't know much about her backstory. All I know is that Scream, the Scream we saw in Spider-Man 2 is all I kind of know about the character. The thing I like about Scream is that she is a really unique and, I think, kind of iconic design. When I think of Venom symbiotes, I really go to Venom, Carnage, and Scream. You could do another female antagonist movie. I don't see why not. You could possibly do a solo Scream movie. You're already doing a movie about the Hydro Hustler, which makes no sense. You're going to do a movie about El Moretto. Why not do a solo movie about Scream, Or, Agony, bring Juno Temple back. Juno Temple is an amazing actress. And, I would love to see her show up more in the future, because the director did say that Null is the looming threat. If you want to build up a team that can fight Null, you got to put Scream on that team, Scream, I think, is going to be one of your best chances to beat Null. And, if they are doing this thing with Null, you Scream, Agony, and Craven seem like a pretty good starting good lineup for the team. Now let's talk about some more of the cameos in the movie. They'll really not really a cameo, but one of the other symbiotes that didn't really last a long time, but was there in the film was this man right here. And we did see him in the last one. We did see him in the last Venom movie. And that is Toxin. Yes, Toxin. This man right here. And this is what he actually looks like in the film. This is Toxin right here. So Toxin, did have, a part to play in the film. He, like I said, he gave the exposition in the film. He was the one really explaining everything to everyone. This is Null. This is what happened to Null. This is how we beat Null. And I wasn't a fan of the design because like as you see, Toxin is a really cool design. Like we look like right this image, like this image right here, you can see it. This is Toxin right here. This is the what I thought it was gonna look like, but he just looked like a normal. He looked like Venom, but he was green, and that was kind of disappointing for me. Like one of the things I think that disappointed me about Venom is that designing the symbiotes, they kind of made them basic. They just made them, one color. Look at Toxin. Like imagine if it was like a red and black version of Venom for Toxin. Like that would have been cool to see. And this man, he dies so quickly in the film. He dies. He gets eaten in like a second in this movie, which is like, eaten in a second. Like really, like oh my god. He was very very weak. Toxin was weak. When he's supposedly be one of the strongest symbiotes. Now, question is, do I think Null will come back? The question is, do they continue with Null? Do they continue building out this character? I say yes. I think they do. The box office results actually just released for Venom. It domestically $51 million. But overseas, this movie has already grossed a global of $175 million, guys. That means like this might be a $500 million. Its opening for worldwide is almost the same as Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2, which how big those movies were. This I think Venom: The Last Dance could go to 400, 500 million if overseas keeps on rising and we keep on seeing the box office go up and up. Because really think about it for November, guys. There's not much left in the release counter that's really going to challenge this film. We look over and look at November releases. So let's look at the November 2024 movie calendar. Movie releases, yes. We do know we have some big ones at the end of the month. There are some pretty big November 24 movies at the end of the month. Well, let's check out that first weekend. So next weekend, so we're going to go through this list right now. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So let's share that. All right, so this is the one I'm looking at. So we got our first week right here, coming out Friday, November 1st. We have Her, which is probably the biggest film coming out. That's the new Tom Hanks, Robert Zemeckis film. I don't think that's really going to be a challenge for Venom to beat. I think Venom could be top of the box office next week as well. Just because, Her, doesn't really seem like a lot of movie. Talking about it, it's Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis isn't the director he once was. And, then you got Jury Number 2 with Clint Eastwood. But you got a lot of movies that probably aren't going to be making that $10 million plus movie. Plus. Now, if we go to the, still November 5th, nothing else. So that's another week Venom could win. Another week in Venom could win, But if we got to go back. We got to go, let's see. See, not even here. Friday, November 8th, that's 2 weeks. 2 weeks Venom could really, really slay in theaters. Now, if we go, November 10th. November 10th is when it's probably going to be overtaken by Red One. Red One is probably going to overtake Venom that weekend just because it's Dwayne Johnson. The movie's expected in the $36 to $40 million range. And by that time, Venom will be in its third week. So if you guys really think about it, Venom is on a really, really great course right now to be successful, to be a very successful film for Sony. Not a lot of competition. I think it could stay number one for the next 3 weeks until Red One comes out. But that really depends. Maybe some of those movies like Heretic, maybe, Conclave gets up there again. What else? Maybe Her actually is a bigger opening weekend than I actually thought. But overall, guys, I don't see Venom being overtaken for number one for the next 3 weeks, which is really good for the film. And yeah, that's it. That was really all like the spoilers / came into the movie. Now, the one thing you guys want to know, Spider-Man 4. What do I think is going to happen now that we got Spider-Man 4 coming out? Spider-Man 4 is the next sort of really kind of big Sony movie besides Craven coming out. And we've been talking about it for a while. We've done videos, hey, Venom could be showing up in this Spider-Man movie. We've seen this concept art right here, how Tom Holland in the symbiote suit. Remember, that symbiote is still in Tom Holland's universe. It is still there. It is still there sitting by, waiting for someone to take it. Because they even did in the beginning of this movie, they showed the No Way Home scene again. They took some things out of that scene, but overall, that scene was still in the film. It still showed Tom Hardy in another universe and him going back to hers, and the symbiote, I believe, was still left behind. So it's possible this symbiote could still get to Tom Holland. But overall, for Spider-Man 4, I still, right now, after Venom Last Dance, I don't see these connecting. I don't see Spider-Man 4 being a Venom / Spider-Man film. I just don't see it right now because, they ended the Venom story in Venom 3. The Venom story, you don't really need to do anything else with Venom. You could possibly bring back Venom, for another time movie, do a variant of Venom for Secret Wars, kind of what they did for with Wolverine and Deadpool Wolverine. But overall, you don't really need to bring Venom into the MCU. There could be a time where right now Tom Holland's in a new transition for Spider-Man. Spider-Man is kind of now out there in his own universe, kind of doing his own thing. He doesn't have MJ, he doesn't have Ned. He's all by his lonesome. It could be the perfect point to introduce a new symbiote and a new person to play Eddie Brock, since Tom Hardy has specifically said, he's kind of done playing the character. He doesn't really want to play the character anymore, which is totally, totally valid, guys. That is a totally valid thing. Maybe he doesn't want to play Venom anymore. Maybe that's a really, really big possibility that he does not want to play Venom anymore. And, I don't think I have a problem with that. I really don't have a problem with that. I'm just wondering, like, would you guys have a problem with that? If Tom Hardy came over to play Venom, like, would you be like, I don't know, I feel about that, Personally, I don't have a problem if he did come over, but I think continuity-wise, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. It wouldn't make a lot of sense if he came over to the MCU. I don't think it makes sense, especially now where the character has now left off. It doesn't give, doesn't make a lot of sense for that character to come over. And I think that could be a pretty massive problem. Marvel probably doesn't want to mix that with Sony, so that's very much likely what's going to happen. We're not going to see this character, transition over to the MCU. I don't think we're going to get a Spider-Man, Venom team-up movie. I think it's possible Venom could show up in Secret Wars or Doomsday. That's a much a big possibility. But overall, I don't see, what you could really do left with Venom. Venom, is kind of over. I think, you still have threads of symbiote characters you can use. You can still use Scream. You can still use Agony. Characters, that are not Venom, but set up in your universe. Now, if they wanted, they could bring him back. They could bring Tom Hardy back to play Venom. Because remember, when they started making these Venom movies, Tom Hardy specifically said that he wanted to fight Spider-Man. Marvel and Sony could do something where it's like, hey, Tom Hardy did his free Venom movies. We really want him to have a movie with Tom Holland. And Marvel was like, okay, maybe we can work something out. Maybe Dustin Daniel Craig has the idea for a Venom versus Spider-Man film, or maybe Spider-Man and Venom teaming up against Null. Remember, if you see Venom Last Dance, there was a plot hole that was really left undone in there, and that plot was they were going to go to New York to find someone to help Eddie, find someone to clear their name. They never really got to see that person. Eddie ended up in New York, but we never saw the person he was looking for. Who was that person? Like I was being watching a movie like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a version of Peter Parker. It's going to be a version of J. Jonah Jameson, or maybe Mary Jane Watson, Harry Osborn. Who knows? But that was another plot hole that was left in the movie that we never really got to see. There was that's one of the problems with Venom. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff that they put in that movie that they first, didn't have to be there, and second, that just was never really answered. Okay, we got a guy in the chair in the comics. He put a little comment there saying Tom Hardy is bad Venom. Think Null is stupid character. His design looks god awful. Listen, we all have our things, guy in the chair. We all have our opinions about the movie. That doesn't mean, that you might think Null is a stupid character. I would say go read a Noel comic before you do it. If your first time you saw Noel was this movie, there's so many other stuff out there. But I think Noel, they did a pretty good job with him. I think, they didn't overuse him. And, they didn't have Noel doing that much. I don't think it was that bad. Tom Hardy's bad Venom. I have to disagree with that. I think Tom Hardy, when I think of the Venom character now, when I read a Venom comic and I think of Eddie Brock, I think of Tom Hardy's voice, So I'm going to have to not agree with your comment right there, guy in the chair. But hey, every single thing. Film is subjective, guys. Film is subjective. We can all have our different opinions about it. I like Tom Hardy, kind of share. You don't like him. Maybe your opinion's kind of shit. Just going to say that. Your opinion's kind of shit, my guy. But hey, that's your opinion. You are open to your own opinion. Now, if you guys have any comments like this, like my friend guy in the chair here, just put it in the comments, guys. I want to talk about this. I'm going to keep this open for a little while. I'm going to keep talking about some Venom stuff. But I'm also going to talk about Spider-Man 4. So we're going to go into some Spider-Man 4 territory right now. So for Spider-Man 4, we did, like I said, got that release date. Now, we're going to start talking about, what that movie could be. What could Spider-Man 4 be? Now, this is what I'm going to say. I think Spider-Man 4 is going to be possibly a new iteration of the character. What I mean by that is, we still have Tom Holland, but I think for that film, you can expect not to see characters like Ned and MJ not being in the film. Just hear me out. This is the perfect time, in my opinion, to introduce characters. Like I said before, Felicia Hardy, Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, so many other Spider-Man characters we have yet to see in this MCU. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, and let's talk about it on Monday, that, Billie Eilish was just not offered, but Marvel's trying to find a role for her in the MCU. And, I have my picks, but my number one for Billie Eilish now to play is Gwen Stacy. Think about it. If we look at Billie Eilish, she's a great singer. I haven't seen her act in anything, so I don't know how that's going to be. But if you look at her, I'm like, Billie Eilish with blonde hair, with that snarky Gwen Stacy attitude, I can see Billie Eilish really playing a Gwen Stacy type character. Personally, I would love if Billie Eilish could do some music for the MCU, do some music for Spider-Man, maybe it's okay, Billie, bring you on to the MCU, maybe you can do some music here for our next Spider-Man movie. It's okay, that'd be cool, but, we're not, this is a Venom, we're talking about Venom. This is still a Venom review. If you guys have not watched my non-spoiler, I said the movie was good. The movie was fun. I was laughing. I was having a great time with the film. I was laughing watching this movie. I was joshing. I was having a fun time. I was there with one of my friends. He was like, I didn't really like the movie. I'm like, I thought it was okay. Not the best of the Venom franchise. I'm a minority of people who I actually really like Venom 2. I do like Venom 2. I like Let There Be Carnage. Venom 1 is my second favorite in the franchise. But you guys, what do you guys think? Venom, what are your opinions on the film? What do you guys think about the future of Venom in Sony or in the MCU? And what do you think is going to happen with the character? And do you think any of this stuff is going to lead into a Spider-Man 4? And that's it for the spoiler discussion today, guys. That's going to be all there is to it. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to put any more comments in the video, I will. If you put comments in here and you have questions, I will answer them on the Let's Talk About on Monday. I will put it in there, and we will have because I really want to see you guys commenting more in the videos. Telling me, okay, comment here so I can talk about it on Let's Talk About it. Have a kind of discussion about your theories, comments, or things you just want me to talk about. And I'll guys see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining the live stream, and I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe. See ya.